only got so much time today to plan, so I better just get right into it. Hi everybody, today is Valentine's Day, February 14th. It is day 14 of Plan As You Go, and I'm showing you how I use my bullet journal, my power sheets, my Erin Condren horizontal and tandem for an entire month. The past couple of days, I've not been in the greatest of moods. I'm getting into a better mood. I'm still feeling really crappy, but my mood is getting better, I guess. I don't know. I did get some stuff in here done though, so I'm gonna check that off. We'll talk about it. I'm using the weirdest colors all over the place. So I got a little bit more work done this week. I'm gonna continue to work on some of these things today. Family plan time still did not happen last night, but that was just because by the time the kids got home and everything. Tonight might be a good time because the kids don't have school tomorrow, and so they can stay up a little later and we can do it. Maybe. We'll see if that happens. I am cooking with cauliflower tonight. I'm doing mac and cheese, and I'm gonna be meal planning today. I'm thinking about next month adding my skincare routine to this list because now it's something I'm starting to get really into. But for now, we're gonna set that to the side and get into my Erin Condren. So far on here, I have a phone call in about 25 minutes. It's about as much time as I have to be in my planner this morning. I have to meal plan. Katie has rehearsal. And I had put this on here because I knew I needed to get some more computer work done. I was supposed to get some filming done this week for next month, and I have not been in the mood for it. So I'm not going to do that, though I did get videos planned. Almost forgot. That reminded me. I finished this yesterday. Woohoo! So I'm not going to try and film today, but I am going to record next week's podcast today because since the kids are home for the next 4 days, I'm not going to have any more quiet time once they get out of school today. So the podcast is coming today. We're not doing anything for Valentine's Day tonight. We're just going to be hanging out, doing our thing. If I meal plan and I clean my fridge out today, then that means when the kids are at their dentist appointment tomorrow, I can leave the dentist office and go to the grocery store. Their appointment is a dual one. They both get taken care of at the same time, and our dentist office is quite literally adjacent to like the shopping center I shop at. That might work. I also put on email work because that's stuff I need to finish. So I've basically finished this for today. I've got a couple of questions from you guys from yesterday I thought were kind of interesting. And the first one I'll answer is from Andrea Tingley. She said, how you started your split custody agreement with your ex. They're doing split custody with their 2 kids and it's been 2 years of arguments and struggling. How long did it take you to smooth out the details? Did you struggle at first? The whole situation gives me so much stress. And I will answer that as our custody this week is actually a little different than usual. I'm leaving that open so I can keep an eye on it, but I'm gonna go into my bullet journal. If you can't tell from the slur in my voice, I once again had another painkiller night. My kidneys have been very angry at me, and part of me wants to go get a pee test done because I am starting to worry I might have a kidney infection, and I'm not excited about that. So I'm going to call my doctor later today and see if I can go into the lab. So Andrea, let me go to my doodles and then I'll answer your question. So today's doodle is chocolate for Valentine's Day. We have been sharing custody for, I would say, almost 10 years now. 9 years. No, yeah, 9 years. It took quite some time. We did not use a mediator. We did not, to have lawyers or anything. We created our own custody arrangement. To this day, we have continued to utilize our own custody arrangement, and it's taken time. We've had to make changes to it before when one of us would, fuck up, me or him, and we would have to adapt it and change it. It's taken a lot of time. A lot of practice, and a lot of arguments, a lot of stress, but also a lot of patience on both of our parts. I think we've both had to, suck it up and kind of deal in a situation where maybe we weren't really wanting to, or offer at least a certain amount of forbearance to the other person. We treat our custody agreement like a living document. We have a paper with everything spelled out, from what our custody looks like to how we handle the holidays to what do we do when one parent needs the other kid on the other parent's weekend for something, family or an appointment or something, things like that. That's all spelled out. It wasn't spelled out at first. As time has gone on and we've run into situations, we have added to it using what we've learned from having to fucking deal with these situations. So it probably took a good, 4 years before we really had it hammered out. And even then it still changes. The biggest thing is just being honest with your communication. Lettering challenge for today is nights. Try and remember, I'm assuming you guys are working together in good faith, that even if you strongly disagree or have personality conflicts with your ex, that at the heart of it, he just wants the same thing you do. He wants the kids to be happy and healthy and to get time with him and time with you. This is not the right word. I was about to write nice. There we go. I mean, be nice, but I would also suggest you spell out as many eventualities as possible, however you're going to handle things. Like, don't just spell out who gets the kids when and custody and who gets them for the holidays. Like, you need to think about, what if there is a loss of a family member and the kid needs to change custody for a week because of the funeral? How are you going to handle that? You know, it doesn't have to just be that specific situation, but the idea of like, if there needs to be a change, like we talk about it as in like favors, as in let me have the kid for this time because I need a favor, and borrowing where we trade time. We kind of have two sort of different ideas. So a favor would be like, this weekend I'm hanging on to the kids because my ex-husband needed me to, because he needs to be doing something this weekend and can't have them. But I'm not trading time with him for this weekend. I'm just taking them for this weekend as a favor to him. But there's other times where like he wanted them on a specific weekend, and so we moved our custody around so that he just got them for that weekend, and then the following weekend I got them, and then we went back to normal. So how do you handle situations when you need to mess with the custody schedule? That's something that you need to lay out, and you need to think about the different situations that might arise, because that way, when the situations do come up, you have a document that says what you guys intended to do, and that you can use that to reference it and make your decisions based on that and not based on feelings. I don't have a lot of great advice for you, because a lot of it depends on the relationship that you have with him as a co-parent. And that's the thing you really need to work on, is can you have conversations? Like, we've had some stuff going on with the kids lately where we've had to sit down, all four parents, and have adult conversations about certain things happening with the kids. And we're able to do that because we have developed this co-parenting relationship, even if we still argue, because we don't always get along very well. That's why we're not married. So that's my best advice for you. I don't know if it's good advice, but it's advice. So we got this done yesterday. RJ has still not remembered to bring his trumpet home from school. I think that's everything that I did yesterday, because I think I crossed something else off. I did some research for an upcoming video. I did not get some of this done yesterday, but I got the rest of it done. All right, so I'm gonna start a new bullet journaling page, and I'm gonna use this black washi tape for it. So Gabrielle Dawkins asked me, what do you do when you're in a business rut? She explained her situation a little bit in the comment, feeling kind of like the work she's doing is not what she expected it to be. She doesn't know what's due next. I don't know if I have great answers for this. I'm one of those people who, like, for the longest time, I was perfectly content at my job. I worked at one grocery store for 7 years, one grocery store for 12 years, and I was totally content. But both times when I quit, it was because something about it had pissed me off enough to break my contentment, and so I quit without even thinking. Like, I put a notice, but it was like I was done. Done. And the first time I did that, it had some pretty heinous repercussions on my family because I didn't think it through. The second time led me to where I'm at now, and I'm okay with that. So my suggestion would be, at the very least, to really maybe spend some time journaling, or some time like doing some deep thinking, brainstorming about the things you love, the things that make you happy, the things you love about the job you're doing now, the things you don't love, so you can look at them from a pro and con situation and decide whether or not the job you're doing is worth it for you right now, or if you need to pursue something else. And if you want to pursue something else, what might that look like, and how would you get there so that you can do it responsibly and not do what I did the first time and quit a job thinking you'd be okay and then put your family into a really dire financial position. Don't do that. I don't recommend that. I'm a big fan of the self-reflection, of the getting out some index cards or some note paper and just getting everything out of your head and then looking at it and trying to make sense of it. It's a really messy way to try and work through a problem. That's how I've handled a lot of them. And if you're feeling that way with your career, you think about the things you love, the things you don't love, about your current career, and then in general, and look and see where the commonalities are, and maybe that might help you discover what your passion really is. I'm not sure. I hope that helped. So I got this in. I've got that appointment in literally 11 minutes, so I gotta hurry up here. As I'm making my to-do list, I will answer the last question. It is from Shayla. She asks, they've had several snow days that they will make up later. She was wondering if living in California, your kids have bad weather days or something similar, since you rarely get snow. When, if you do, Do the kids make it up after the school year is over, or are there built-in emergency makeup days like we have? Okay. Funny thing, I had never in my life missed school because of an emergency or weather. There was a point where my town was flooding and we still didn't miss school. Like, the first time I ever experienced missing school because of an emergency or because of weather was in 2014 when my kids missed 3 days of school because of the Napa earthquake and the schools weren't safe to go into. And because it was declared an emergency, they didn't have to make those days up. They just sort of smushed what they had to learn into the rest of the week, but we didn't, the end of school didn't change. They didn't take time off of any of our breaks, any of that. We didn't make the days up. The only other time that's happened was during the fires. During the fires, my kids missed 2 weeks of school because for the first week we had no power and the fires were still raging. And then the second week, the air quality was hazardous and the schools needed to have work done on their systems so that the air would be safer to breathe. So 2 weeks of school, again, it was declared an emergency, so they didn't have to make up the days. There was a lot of controversy in town about whether they were gonna make up the days, especially for the high school students who needed to, like, you know, had AP tests and things like that that were gonna be coming up. But as far as I know, they didn't make them up. I'm almost 40 and I've lived in California my entire life. I went to school here, went to college here, and the only times I've ever personally experienced school being missed was my kids, and it was for an earthquake and the fires. All right, so this is my pretty light to-do list today. I may wind up getting more time to work on other stuff. If I do, I'll add it to it, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm trying to be realistic in how much I can actually get done between feeling crummy and just being all over the place right now. A lot of the work that I can do tomorrow doesn't require me filming, so I'll be okay. But the podcast is like the top priority because I need to get that recorded when there's nobody else in the house. I've tried recording it when people are home. It is a pain in the ass. I want to go back to Gabrielle's question and throw it to you. What do you do when you're in a business or a career rut? Or if you're like a stay-at-home mom and you're going back to work and you don't know what you're going to be doing, or you've been at a point where you've worked at a job and you aren't sure if you want to keep working at it. How did you handle that situation? How did you decide what you want to do? I would love some advice for Gabrielle, who's in a rut, on how to deal with that rut, whether to help her figure out a new job or to figure out how to be happier at the job she's at, or how to at least manage how she's feeling at the job she's at while she figures it out. Any of your advice or experiences in the comments below for Gabrielle would be phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in tomorrow's Plan As You Go video.